to my channel. Hold on. I don't like this view. One moment. Child, it took me a minute to get this set up. I'm not sure why. There we go. I got the camera right now, I think. I hope. Anyway, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Mom and Nostalgic Runner. And we are back again for another review of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And this is season 13, episode 11. It's called The Celebration of Life. I'm wondering, this season for have a total of 19 episodes, and that doesn't include the reunion. So we're trucking away. So not too many more episodes for me to go. So I guess that's good. I don't know. But anyway, let's get into the review. So we start the episode with Crystal meeting up with Kyle at her place. And Kyle is planning like a girls' day trip to OJ? California? I've never heard of this place. But anyway, I guess it's really close to Santa Barbara. And it is for Annamarie's birthday. Yeah, Annamarie's still here. We forgot about her, but she's still around. And Kyle's hoping that everyone gets along, since it has been chaos every time Annamarie has been in the scene so far. Which, by the way, she ain't been there that much. But, yeah. Anyway. So Garcelle and Son are on their way there to the event. And they recap Garcelle's conversation with Dorit. And Garcelle is just ready to move on. Even though Dorit doesn't quite get it. She's like, you know what? Whatever. Let's just keep it pushing. And Son mentions that they are going to her friend's Amber's estate also during this trip to do some wine tasting. So that's going to be kind of nice. And anyway, so then next Dorit and Annamarie arrive, and the rest of the ladies are there. So we find out that Erica is not going to the event because she has COVID. So they FaceTime her and just kind of send their best wishes and keep it pushing. And Annamarie states, so they're in the Sprinter on their way there. And Annamarie states that she and Son had a rocky start, but she's ready to put it behind her and have a good time. You'll see why I gave that look, because child, anyway. But then Son shares news about what she has going on. She went on a date, and now she's going to be having a second date. And they recap the date, and it really was a cute date scene. And the ladies are also happy for her, and it's light, fun. And Son does state in their confessional that she's excited about the date, and she does look excited. She looks so happy about it. And I love that for her. Anyway, Kyle runs down the itinerary for the day, and they arrive to the spot. And apparently, I didn't know this, it's a shopping trip, which makes sense because Kyle loves to shop, and it just shows a lot of Kyle shopping, and Kyle's in heaven. So, also, by the way, this episode, outside the last scene, is a pretty lighthearted episode, and kind of a filler, I guess. I don't think it was a filler. It didn't feel so much like a filler towards the end, but up until the end of the episode, it definitely did feel like a filler. But very enjoyable to watch. Overall, pretty lighthearted episode. After Kyle and the ladies all get their shopping in, they do arrive at the winery. It's called Casa Loca Winery. They do the tasting, and then they do lunch. I'm not going to lie, I did check to see where this is located at, because I'm not so good with my California geography, and I was like, because again, never heard this place before, but I found out it's close to Santa Barbara, so I'm not going to be as close to this place when I go to California again. I was hoping I would be, but not so much. But anyway, so Kyle states that she loves the scenery there, and pretty much once Portia grows up, because Portia is her youngest daughter, she's hoping to move away from Los Angeles and kind of move somewhere that's a little bit more nature-based. And I can see that for Kyle, because Kyle definitely, aesthetically, she doesn't look LA. She's not very Beverly Hills when it comes to her aesthetic. She's definitely more of like, she gives me down-to-earth vibes when it comes to like her style and how she really carries herself outside the show. So I could see that she would want to change it. But I noticed in this scene, and it's kind of going to be evident throughout the whole entire episode, she didn't really mention what Mo wanted, not once. It's pretty clear that this episode, and it's very kind of focused on that. Kyle is definitely, and this whole season's kind of focused on it. Kyle's definitely trying to find her own happiness. And whether you like her or not, I do love that for her. I love that for anyone. I definitely am someone who is a huge proponent of finding her own happiness, especially now. She's getting to the point where she has her last daughter she's raising. Her last daughter, Portia, she's 15. So once she becomes 18, she can focus completely on her. So do that. Anyway, so they do decide they're going to start playing some games. And it's Kyle's game. It's like a card game. And I was so pleasantly surprised by this whole entire thing that it stayed lighthearted. It never went below the belt. It truly was a lighthearted, fun card game they had. So I'll give you a little bit of a recap what they did. It was kind of like a Truth or Dare card game. So Kyle, so Son licked Kyle's toe. Yuck. But that was one of the things it said for someone to do that. And Son's like, I'll do it. I'm just like, Son, you're odd. I will never be able to figure out who you are as a person. It cracks me up. But you're quirky and we love you for it. Anyway. And then next, all the ladies do their best O face. But I love how Garcelle put a spin on. She was like, make it look like you got the best Birkin bag you've always wanted. So everyone gave a look. And Crystal cracked me up because she just looked like, she was like, so it was fun. And then it went kind of weird, but it stayed okay. It was, and I feel like the producers planted some of these questions in here. Where husband and social media. Kyle's definitely against husband, social media, and like where it pertains to like her husband or husband speaking to another woman on social media or entertaining another woman, even giving like a like. So she kind of had a nice hard stand on that. They didn't elaborate. They kept it fun. And then they go from that to a cake comes, like the people who work at the winery provided a cake to Annamarie. She blows out the candles. And then the game continues. And the next question is, who is okay about dating a woman? And everyone kind of did a pause. They're just like, that question kind of came out of left field. And I was thinking that too. I was like, now Kyle, I feel like those last two questions you planted, because you are the producer of the show. You're one of the producers. I know it doesn't say that in the credits, but you definitely are one of the producers. Why was that there, girl? Huh? Anyway, Garcelle states that she thought about it. Kyle says she would. I mean, I feel like that's kind of why I was like, girl, you put that there so you can confess your sins to the girls. Anyway, Garcelle in her confessional states that Kyle's changed her too. A couple years ago, she was like, no, I wouldn't do that. And now there must be a country song there for that. She shaded her in the confessional saying there must be a country song out there for that. Alluding to, the Morgan Wade of it all. And then next, it mentions, this was not even part of the game. I think it just came up about scissoring. And one of the ladies asked what scissoring was. And Dorit and Kyle proceed to show an example what scissoring looks like. And then from there, Dorit and Son kiss. It was funny. It was not sensual at all. It was not like Julia and Lisa, because that was given sensual. I wanted to be part of that kiss. This was the opposite. They kind of were being silly. And then towards the end of this scene, Kyle announces the celebration of life that she's going to be having for Laureen, her best friend, the one who, tragically passed away due to the ending of it all. You can read between lines there. Self-inflicted. And but overall, this event was a fun event. Next, Garcelle is with her sons. And she's already thinking, she mentions to her sons, because they just arrived to her house to stay at her house for the week. They must share custody, her and her ex-husband. They definitely share custody. That's definitely been a thing. But it's her turn, basically. And she's already kind of thinking ahead about her being an empty nester. She's already feeling a way about it. because both her kids are 15 years old and they're sophomores in like high school. So I mean, it's not that far away. And Jace is like, it'll be fine. I'm ready for this to happen because that's the one who's grown, right? And Jade, he's like, whatever. Where's where's Ashlyn? Like he's the one who's like, where's Ashlyn? And I do love her scene with her boys because the contrast is quite comical. But Jax, I'm gonna need you to calm down your you ain't ready to be an adult yet. Stop it. I know we all think that we've all been that age where we think we're grown, but you don't want these adult problems. I promise you don't. You really, really don't. So anyway, Jay does ask Garcelle about Ashlyn sleeping over. Garcelle's like, no. As any parent would be. And so they're teasing her, saying she's a hater. And then she's like, oh, do we want to have the sex conversation then? And then they immediately divert to teenagers, including Jax, which cracks me up because Jax is the one who always acts grown. But man, he diverted so quickly to being a teenager because he didn't want to have that talk with her. And she was like, and this is how I bring them back down to earth. But anyway, that was how that scene ended. It was overall a cute scene. I'd be loving her family time she has with her boys. Next, we have Dorit and PK getting ready for Sarah, who is Dorit's therapist, to arrive at their place. And apparently they're doing a couples counseling session. Dorit shares that she's running out of patience when it comes to PK, and she wants him to be there for her more in relation to the PTSD, as well as just be around. And PK feels a way about her timing related to the PTSD, and he was really irritated, and we knew this. He was super irritated about that she kind of didn't seem appreciative of his surprise. And long story less long, they've been married for a long time, and they're going in a different direction right now. They're going through that struggle that a lot of married couples go through. And I'll be honest, I'm not so interested in the storyline. I mean, I know this is the real life, but I'm just kind of like, okay. But typical marriage struggles between Dorit and PK. And yeah. Next, we have our typical Housewives montage. We see all the ladies getting ready for Kyle's celebration of life event for her dear friend. Kyle is arriving with Morgan and Teddy Mellencamp. The Nat. And they do arrive at the National Alliance of Mental Health. So they're having the event there, which is that makes all the sense in the world. And yeah, so Morgan is rehearsing her song she's going to be singing. Kyle's nervous about her speech. And the rest of the ladies do arrive with Kyle's, and then Kyle's daughters arrive, and Kim also arrives to support her sister, of course. Teddy approaches Garcelle, being annoying and doing too much as usual without it landing properly. And Garcelle, in her confessional, is literally doing what I just did, like, oh, sorry, it was just a nap. And Garcelle's like, the fact that she even, because the way Teddy greeted Garcelle, she's like, the Nat has arrived. She literally calls herself the Nat. It's like, girl. Maybe there are some Teddy Mellencamp fans around. Maybe people listen to the podcast. I don't know. But Teddy, to me, is truly the definition of trying to make fetch happen. And based off of this episode and the episodes that I have seen so far of Annamarie, she's giving the similar energy. I'll be honest. for this being an episode where this was a birthday celebration for her, it's just every time Annamarie's in the scene, she has nothing to say about herself. She talks about other people, particularly Sun just has you bothered. And similar to my Real Housewives of Potomac take on Nneka and the fact that someone else is living in your head rent-free that you don't even know like that, I feel pretty much the same way about Annamarie. And I'm mentioning that because something does happen later on in this event, at this event. So, anyway, Lorraine's mother arrives, and Kyle and her get really, really emotional. You could tell that this is hard. I mean, I could imagine, like, I can't imagine. I don't even want to imagine that kind of thing. That has to be difficult. I mean, yeah, I don't want to share my own tea, but, like, I have had family member who passed away due to similar circumstances, and it's something you just try not to think about. You don't ever really get over it. I'm just going to say that. And the person who I had that was in my life like that, we were a lot alike. And I was really, really close to her. And so, yeah, it's tough. Anyway, both Kyle and Garcelle mentioned the lack of, because Kyle, as she's talking to Lorraine's mom, it comes up that Mo, her husband's not there. And I found that kind of strange too. I mean, a strange or not, him being busy or not, considering the fact that this was her best friend, I would think, for me, whatever kind of terms we're in, marriage or not, if you're my partner, I'm gonna need you to be there for me when it comes to this type of a thing. Period. I don't care if we have a rough patch. I don't care if you gotta work. You're gonna have to make the arrangements, figure it out. So I did kind of feel weird about that in this event, in this scene. And Garcelle notices that Mo isn't there either. And it does definitely say a lot, and it's not good a lot. It's pretty messed up. Anyway. So Garcelle, Crystal, and Annamarie are sitting down together waiting for the event to start. Annamarie brings up Garcelle. She brings up Sutton yet again and the small esophagus of it all. And Garcelle straight up asks her, why do you care? In her confessional, Garcelle is stating, like, this is not even very, like, Beverly Hills to talk about. Like, I don't know what this is, but it's not Beverly Hills. You normally talk about people's bags, purses, plastic surgery, not someone's esophagus. It's weird. And I agree. Give it a rest, girl. It's not landing. No one is again, trying to make fetch happen. And both Garcelle and Crystal are over it. Just like I am. They're literally even giving that look. And Annamarie suggests that and the most disgusting thing that she could do, and this is why I'm just done with her, and she could seriously just leave. You can leave. Let me know where that's from. And Annamarie suggests that Sutton has an eating disorder in front of Crystal. And you have watched the show before, whether you watch the show or not, and also the fact that we know that Annamarie knows Crystal. She probably knows that Crystal's an eating disorder or has eating disorder struggles. So the fact that she's that tacky to mention that in front of Crystal, and then Crystal's like, you literally suggested that she has an eating disorder. She's like, no, you said that. And the producers just being the footage, just literally rewind what she said 5 seconds before that. And she literally said eating disorder. She did that. And it's like, Annamarie, you and the medical gaslighting, do you want to like continue working? Because I feel like the way you act on the show, you don't want to continue to have a job. And I mean both jobs. Like, what in the lack of bedside manner is this? Anyway, so while this is happening, Dorit and Sutton are talking, and Sutton shares, and this is where the emotions, the feels just be feeling. Sutton shares with Dorit that she actually lost her father the same way. And no one in their family talks about it. They don't even deal with it. They just buried it and just kind of keep it pushing. And that's kind of even how it was with our family when that happened. We just kind of kept it pushing. I'll be honest with you, I won't even go to my aunt's house anymore because I just don't even want to think about it. I avoid it. I avoid the conversation. I don't even want to talk about it. All the trauma that I've had in my life, that's probably it's kind of one. It's top two for me. So I can understand where Sutton's coming from. So the end of this episode on was pretty emotional for me. And I did break down, cry a couple times watching this because of my own personal things with a family member I lost due to similar circumstance. So Garcelle goes directly to Sutton after this is being shared, and also, of course, Sutton does elaborate more in the confessional, but she goes directly to her and states that, that basically Annamarie's coming after her, and basically Sutton's like, not today. Today is not the day. Because, I mean, literally what Sutton just shared. And Garcelle's, and Dorit's like kind of observing this. And she's like, why did she do that right then and there? She didn't say it like that. She kind of said like she just lights a match and then walks away. And normally I would say Dorit is being dramatic. But at this moment, because, and this might be editing, I don't know how long the time passed, but the way it looked, it did come off kind of weird. Like she literally said that right after, Sutton and Dorit were clearly having a serious conversation. It was giving a little cringe. I'll be honest. I love Garcelle, but I gotta call you out, girl. I don't really care for Dorit, but I gotta call her. I gotta let her. Like, when she's right, she's right. So I kind of did. I was kind of looking at Garcelle like, girl, what? Because it was just odd that she approached her right after that, but without checking what the vibes were before she said all that. I guess for me, before I would come and just say something, I would kind of see what's going on or the vibes given what needs to be given. But at the same time, one thing about Garcelle is she's so straightforward. She's so, as a matter of fact, that's kind of her personality. So I don't know if I'm just like, toting the line with her. I probably am, but child, yeah. After that happened, Dorit is observing. She's just kind of looking on while Kyle and Morgan are together, and they literally are kind of feeding each other. And I mean, child, they were feeding each other. They had finger foods, and they were just kind of sharing, and it was giving more than friend vibes. But anyway, she shares in her confessional though that she has met Morgan before, and she met her last year. And actually, when she met her last year, that was the last time her, PK, Kyle, Mo were all out together for dinner. After that hasn't happened since then. So yeah. But fast forward, Kyle does finally get up there to make her speech, and I do love this episode because it ends in a very meaningful way. So Kyle does have a touching speech, and as she's making her speech, they're showing all these pictures of her and her best friend, and they know each other since second grade. and it's really, really touching. While she's having this speech, Sutton is getting super, super emotional about her dad. And she's also sharing in her confessional, because she's in the audience, having her moment, and not being a distraction. She was just, kind of to herself having her moment. And Sutton is sharing her guilt, how she felt about her father passing away. Because what we found out was that she was actually expected to go over there the day that it happened, and she was late because Sutton's always late. But she feels if she was there on time, she would have been able to stop him. And Sutton, I feel for you. I get that. I kind of have guilt sometimes when it comes to like my family member. I feel like maybe if I reached out more, that wouldn't have happened. But the person who does that, they have to want things to change for themselves. There's nothing you can do about that. So hopefully you still don't carry on to that guilt, or if you do, you kind of work your way around it. But I understand it because I have those feelings sometimes too, so I get it. Anyway, so Kyle gets super emotional and completes her speech. Morgan performs, and while she's performing, Kyle's confessing that Luann is actually the true reason why she's changed her behavior and really is just taking life, on this way now, as far as like just being herself, not trying to please others, living for the moment and all that. And I said this actually back, the episode that she was talking to her therapist and she was sharing about her friend, that this is what I think it was. I didn't think it had anything to do with Mo or even her fault with her sister, because those are things that have happened constantly to her. Mo and her, I think they've had problems for a while, which is kind of why I don't completely believe the storyline, because I think they've had the problems for a while. And then her sisters, that sisters thing has been a thing for her whole entire life. So that's something, in my opinion, I feel like she can manage because she's been managing it this whole time. The X factor was her best friend, the person she would share all these things that go crazy with, is gone. And sometimes it's all it takes. You just need that last piece that, to not be there. But I do love at the end of this episode, everyone's kind of being emotional at the end. The ladies are riling together. And it was a beautiful and very emotional episode. And it's an episode that had just a little bit of mess. But it was by the 8.5. I'm not going to call her that every single time because someone else is calling her that. And I don't want to steal someone else's idea. But she called herself an 8.5. But like everyone else was trying to stay out of the mess. And I do appreciate this and love this episode. And at the very end, of course, it had the message about what to do if the hotline. But yeah, so that does conclude the episode. Again, it was a pretty enjoyable episode. It was a very emotional episode. But yeah, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and I will see you next time. Bye.
You're the night sky trying to make me see your stars, but the dark gets lonely. Now I see violet.